Well guys, I know exactly what you're thinking. That probably would have been just as quick and just as effective with a rake. However, this lad no longer owns an effective rake. As you can see, my old rake's seen better days. I tried to weld it back together a couple of times, just that cheap steel, so I don't think I'm gonna win with it. I think I'm gonna have to go to the hardware store and get myself a new one. However, that's not what today's video is about. Today's video is about the missing link in a lot of guys' firewood operations. A conveyor. A conveyor is just like having a second person there to throw the wood for you, but he shows up to work every single day. And this goes for either one of my elevators or conveyors or one of my competitors. They just, like I said, it's like having a second person there. It just speeds up your process so much, whether you're loading a trailer, loading a truck, or you just have to get the wood away from the splitter. Because if you've run one of these commercial machines, you know what I'm talking about. A lot of wood comes out the back of these things, and you'd find that you always have a guy sitting there throwing all the time. Can you do it? Of course you can. However, this will almost add, I'd say 60 to 70% to your production, just having the conveyor. And then you don't have the guy's wage, and you don't need to rely on somebody to show up. So it's just a really good investment for you. Like, for what you're gonna pay for a conveyor, whether it be one of mine or a competitor's, the money you're gonna invest in it is gonna pay you back pretty quick. And as you can see, we have three different models. We have our STK16, our 24, and we have the brand new 32. We just started doing the 32 footer. Thank you, Keith. Keith ordered the first one. Took a chance on us, so that was really good of him. We've always wanted to do a 32. We've just never had anybody pull the trigger on one. So it was kind of nice for Keith to go ahead and to go and say, go ahead and build one. So it was kind of nice. So we appreciate that, Keith. So we do have a 32 footer in our lineup. And as you can see, all these conveyors are built the exact same. It's the same chain, the same pans, the same engine, same hydraulic tank, same valves. Like, I don't think there's much of a point when you're into a standalone conveyor like this to build one lighter. Like, these things take a pile of abuse. There's wood coming off the back of the machine, wood off the back of a processor. If you're using it for an auxiliary conveyor to maybe load a truck after a tumbler, they're just really handy for that. And they normally get bumped around, they get banged around, because that's what they are. You got to make sure you build them heavy enough to last for that. And as you can see, like, the chain on these isn't like a corn elevator. I know a lot of guys don't like the chain elevators because they have that corn conveyor mentality in their head. These things are 81X chain. It's the same chain you'd see on a live deck on a processor or in a sawmill. And what we do is we just weld a paddle to them, and the paddle is actually a formed paddle. It's not a piece of angle iron, it's a formed paddle now that's bent two ways, so it's just really, really strong. So in the event that you do get something jammed up, because you will, I guarantee you will, a chain elevator, that's what's going to happen with them from time to time. Like I said though, these are far superior in that respect to a corn elevator. But with these things here, there's a relief valve in the hydraulics that won't let anything break. It'll just stop. And then these have a reverse on them too, so you can actually reverse the chain, unblock the jam, and then go back to work. Where a hay elevator or a conveyor that just has one direction, you have to get that piece of wood out of there, and sometimes that's a lot easier said than done. And as you can see, all these conveyors have stainless steel lines up them. The stainless is a lot nicer. You don't have rubber then. It doesn't, and they're gonna last a long, long time for you. That seems the way to do it. They're not gonna rust on you. You're not gonna run into any situations like that. At the top end of it here, we just have a hydraulic drive motor on it, and there's really not a whole lot there. You have 4 flange bearings. There's 2 at the top and 2 on the bottom to actually run the sprockets, and then you might need to put a little bit of oil on the rollers, a little bit of bar oil on the rollers themselves, just to keep them lubricated. But it's very low maintenance. And then in terms of the engine, it's a 5.5 horse GX series Honda, so it's a good commercial grade Honda, and it just runs on an idle. You might burn 2 or 3 gallons of fuel in this a day, if that. Like, they just run on idle. They hardly run at all. And then, like I said, like, the whole thing's hydraulic lift, so The hydraulic lift's really nice. There's no chains or pulleys or any of that stuff to actually worry about on it. And then the other nice thing about our conveyors is that there's actually a set of locking legs on them. A lot of companies don't run locking legs on them. They just run the cylinders up, and if you've been around equipment at all, you know that that's going to creep down and it's hard on the cylinders. So with this here, you can raise the conveyor up, set it down on its locks, and then it'll rest there until you actually need to move it again. And then on this end of it, you can see the 24-foot conveyor and the 32-foot conveyor both have the grizzly option on them. This cleans out a lot of trash. Like that pile I was cleaning up at the beginning of the video, that was off of a face cord of wood with an 8-way wedge. So you can see how much scrap that actually cleans out. And then what a lot of guys will do is they'll actually dump a bucket onto the conveyor, like dump a bucket of wood in it, and then it'll screen it out. I'll leave a video link up here for that, or down in the comments maybe too. I'll leave a link to that where we were actually screening our own wood for that. And the grizzlies are just on a couple of pins that they fold out, and then the other pan part folds down. The reason we don't do one on the 16-foot conveyor is just because it's not quite tall enough to actually have that. And it's hard to tell which conveyor is going to fit your application the best. Like the 16-footer is really good if you need to load a small dump truck, dump trailer, and you're tight. If you need space if you don't have a lot of space to move around, it's easy to manipulate. The 24-foot conveyor is our most popular. It'll load a normal tandem dump truck or a tri-axle, and it's easy to move around too. It's you can't hand bomb it the same as what the 16-footer can, but it's still easy to move around and park wherever you have it. And then we have this new 32-foot conveyor. Like if you need to get your wood pile way up in the air, that's the way to fly. If you need to get a lot of wood in a small amount of space, or load something really tall, that 32-foot conveyor has a 17-foot loading height. And when you think of it, like along the ground horizontally, it doesn't seem like a lot, but when that's up in the air all the way, that's fairly high. So you'd be able to load just about anything you wanted with it. Anyways guys, give the video a big thumbs up, hit the subscribe button. I'll keep you guys up to date with what's going on around here at Eastonmade, and any innovations or different things we're doing here, or what's going on around the shop too. So if you liked the video, give her a big thumbs up. I really appreciate you tuning in and taking the time to watch this today. Thanks a lot.